Well, hello and welcome to the Pup Mommy. This is a channel where I share my practical hands-on experience in what I've learned, including my mistakes, in over 30 years of owning, loving, and caring for dogs. Now, this is part 3 of a 3-part series on adopting a shelter dog. In part 1, I talked about what kind of dogs are at the shelter, where do they come from, and also the fact that you should have a plan going in before you actually go to the shelter and adopt. In other words, finding that dog that matches your personality, your lifestyle, that's complementary to you and your home and family. In part 2, I talked about what to expect when you're actually at the shelter and going through the steps of choosing what dog. And now in part 3 of this video, this is the good one here, bringing the dog home. Before what you should do before you bring the dog home, and then of course when the dog enters your home for the first time, and then as the dog starts acclimating and settling in, what should be your expectations? You know, 6 out of 10 dogs adopted are returned. And the purpose of this video is to ensure that neither you nor the dog are one of those statistics. So let's get started. You now have made the decision. You know what dog you're going to bring home, but you need to make sure that your home is what they call puppy proof, dog proof, and that you also have the supplies on hand that you'll need when you bring your dog home. Now, with the puppy proofing or dog proofing, as I call it, make sure that especially if you have children, or if and even when you're an adult, look at the floor very carefully. Are there any Legos? Are there any toys? Are there any shoes? Are there anything that a dog can get into and potentially swallow? I had an incident once many years ago where I brought my new little puppy home, and within the first week I had come home, I had changed my clothes, went outside to mow the lawn, I come back in, and the next thing I know, the puppy swallowed one of my knee-high nylon stockings. Those were the days when you still wore them. So very carefully look around, and also go to the ASPCA, I'll leave a link, they have a toxic plant listing. If you have any plants around that may be toxic to dogs, check to see what is on the list versus what you have, and also kind of move them a little way away, because sometimes you just don't know. You'd be surprised what dogs can get into. And then also, if there are any cords, any wires from computers, laptops, anything that can be chewed, kind of secure them, move them away, secure them, in a way that the dog is not going to be able to get to them. Some of the supplies you should have on hand are kind of like a no-brainer. You're going to need a crate. You are going to need you can sometimes with a crate, you can use either towels or a blanket or a crate mat inside there. Set up the crate in an area in your home that if you do not have carpeting, all right? One of the things that I highly recommend is that in my particular home, I have hardwood floors and I have porcelain tile. When I have ever brought my dogs home, I always have a dedicated space for them on an area that is easy cleanup. You don't want to put them anywhere near where you're going to have to do this and scrubbing. You're going to have, obviously, dog food bowl, water bowl, collar, leashes, and cleaning supplies. You're probably going to need that as well. Now, that's to kind of prepare your home for when the dog comes in. You should have those things out. And the other thing also, establish what is going to be your routine. All right. When are you going to feed the dog? When are you going to take the dog out? When are you for potty? When are you going to exercise the dog? What time is the dog going to sleep? Establish that structure so you already have that in hand when you bring home, and make sure that everybody agrees to that structure. If somebody is going to be responsible for taking the dog out in the morning, is someone going to be responsible for feeding the dog? Someone's going to be responsible for making sure the dog has water. Have that all laid out and have everyone agree to it, because that is going to definitely help for a happy home, a happy family, and a happy dog. All right, now that you have your home kind of prepped, now you're going to bring the dog home. Keep in mind that if you happen to have other pets, before you walk through the door, have your pets behind a gate. Somebody saw something out in the back in the family room. When you bring your dog home, have your other pets behind a gate or behind in an area that's kind of cordoned off. Because remember that even though you had your dogs available at a meet and greet with the new pup, when your pup is now coming into your home, that you're on that dog's turf. All right, so you may have a little bit of a different, all of a sudden, there's going to be a difference in behaviors between possibly your dog and the new dog. So always keep that in mind. And kind of what I usually do with whenever I bring home new dogs, I always have my regular dogs behind a gate. And for a new meet and greet, I go outside on the deck or in the backyard. I don't necessarily have the meet and greet right immediately in the house. You may not have that luxury, but do it very, very slowly and very calmly. And you'd like to have a nice, calm environment when you walk in. I know if you have children, they're going to be excited, but explain to your children that, hey, this is the new kid on the block. We want to make sure that the dog feels welcome. It can be a little scared and a little unsure, so we want to be very, very loving and friendly with our dog. And we want our dog to adapt to us on its timetable. So keep that in mind. You have your dog on a leash, very calm, very nice, quiet. Teach your children how to approach the dog, how to hold their hand to the dog, let the dog sniff, because some dogs don't necessarily like when the hand starts going over here to start petting, the dogs get nervous. So when it first walks in, the other thing to do also is make sure that when I said earlier you have a space in your home for the dog, it's never give the dog complete roaming of the house because it's going to be way too overwhelming. Make sure you already have in the back of your mind where you're going to allow the dog in the beginning. Is it just the kitchen? Is it just the family room? Is it the kitchen, the family room, the hallway, and the bathroom? Where exactly is that dog going to be allowed?
So we have found out that we are at least the 5th family that this beautiful girl has been to. And this beautiful girl is staying with this 5th family that she has. So, she got a bed today. She's never had a bed before, y'all. So we're going to see her reaction because you don't even know what this is. Haven't even given it to her yet. So let's see if she likes her new bed. Come here, Dixie. Look, this is yours. Oh, look at you. Your first bed. Oh, are you a happy girl? Are you a happy girl? Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, honey. Oh.
Let the dog, you can either hold it on the leash as it walks around and sniffs, as it starts to get acclimated. You can have treats handy, anything that eases the dog and helps its comfort. There is something out there on the web, it's called 333. And 3 days, what to expect during the first 3 days, what to expect in the first 3 weeks, what to expect in the first 3 months. Well, the tone that you set when you bring the dog home, always keep in the back of your mind now too, the dog is walking into a new environment. The dog doesn't know if this is its home for real, or is this just some place that the dog is going to stay. And, the dog's behavior is going to be maybe a little different than what you saw at the meet and greet. It may be somewhat different than, you know, that hyper dog on the cage. All of a sudden is the dog that cowers, hides behind the bathroom bowl, hides under the furniture, doesn't want to eat, doesn't come out. Then when you feed the dog, all of a sudden the dog throws up all over the floor because of anxiety, because it's scared, because it's nervous. You know, we all see videos, whether it's on Dodo or it's on other channels, where, you know, people bring the dog home and, oh, the dog is like, it's lived here forever. And, you know, that's like 1 in 1,000. To be perfectly honest with you, that's like 1 in 1,000. Most dogs are, you know, and there are some that are going to adapt more easily than others, especially dogs that have had the experience of being in a home before. Other dogs who had some abuse or neglect in their backgrounds, or dogs who were strays for a while, they're going to be unsure, they're going to be uncertain. So you have to be the leader, you have to be calm, you have to give them the structure, the routine, the parameters, the soft talking. If the dog doesn't want to be petted, don't force it. If the dog doesn't want to come to you right away, or is scared or is cowering, don't force it. Remember, this is the dog's timetable. It is not your timetable. And this is also another reason why, as I mentioned earlier, to have your crate and your dog in an area where it's easy cleanup, because your dog may potty, your dog may go on the floor because out of fear, out of being, you know, anxiety. So these are some of the things that you need to be aware of and need to expect. It may not happen at all, but chances are it probably will. I've only had, well, no, I've had several dogs who have been actually gems when I've brought them home. But, you know, other dogs, again, with shelter dogs, you know, you're taking them out of a noisy environment, you're putting them into a new home, so give them time to acclimate. Also, when you're, yes, you know, what you should also do, and to bring this to a close, is you should already have a vet and make an appointment at the vet for your dog, for your new dog. Even if you have the medical and behavioral evaluations from the kennel or from the shelter, you really need to know what you're dealing with. So make sure that you have a veterinary appointment set, and also a trainer. You know, 96% of dogs who are surrendered, owner surrendered, never received any training at all. You need to have a trainer, and you need to have that trainer lined up. And there are also a gazillion how-to videos out there regarding training your dog. But it's always good to have a professional working with you, especially if you have one of those breeds that, you know, like somebody adopts a German Shepherd, someone adopts a Rottweiler, someone adopts a Doberman, or someone adopts a Pit Bull. You need people who are experienced with those dogs, because, as I mentioned in another video, the financial liability is crushing if your dog injures someone or someone's pet. You could get sued. You don't want that. And you certainly don't want any dog injuring yourself. So what is required? A lot of patience, a lot of understanding, and, you know, let the dog come to you on its terms, on its timetable. If it doesn't come within 3 days, if it doesn't come within a week, that's perfectly okay, because so many times we don't know what is in that dog's background. And especially if a dog is owner surrendered after a number of years, it's only known that particular owner, and now all of a sudden here you are. So, you know, sometimes it takes a good 3 weeks. Sometimes, like when I adopted my Ophelia, I mean, we're talking 3 months, and I was still dealing with demons from her past. In fact, here we are, almost 3 years now, I'm still dealing with demons from her past. She's a good girl, she's sweet-tempered, but sometimes she gets mentally a little crazy. And so that's something that I deal with. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them. I do answer all questions, and I do answer all comments. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. And again, I do offer a service to help you find the perfect dog for your family and lifestyle. I'll leave that information in the description section as well. I want to thank you again for watching, for your attention. I do so appreciate it. And here's to whatever dog that you decide that you're going to adopt. I'm wishing you many, many happy years and many wonderful memories, because there is absolutely nothing like owning and loving a dog and having a dog love you. With that, I'll say thank you for watching. Bye for now.